Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great day. Today, we are going to be talking with Miss Silvia Razzo. I love your last name. I think it's so unique and fun. How are you today, Miss Sylvia?
Really good. Thank you so much, LaTasha. Hope you're well as well.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, LaTasha, for inviting me in your podcast. I'm really
Oh,
happy to be here.
thank you. We are so happy to have you. I'm glad we were able to figure that out with the time zone because that is something sometimes.
Yeah,
Um,
but it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me, how are you doing? I know that you've done a lot in your journey, sports, different things like that, and so I would just love to hear, how you deal with all of that
Yeah.
energy and sometimes stress that comes along with it, right?
Yes,
Yeah. So,
that's right. That's right. So first of all, I want to introduce myself just briefly. My name
mhm.
is Silvia, and I'm a professional dressage rider and an entrepreneur. And I've spent my life in high level sport. So, where discipline, elegance, and pressure all coexist every single day. I'm really happy that today we can discuss about mental health, both in life and in sport, because it's something that I've lived through deeply. Um, I would like to point out that because it's something that I'm living really daily, on daily basis, that sometimes what people often see is that only the strong part that we have out from the outside. But
Mhm.
what often people don't see is the behind the strong image, there is a constant inner work to stay balanced, to stay kind to yourself, to find meaning beyond the results. So for me, this conversation is about what happened inside, not just only what people can see from the outside.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And speaking, since we dove right into the mental health, um, you know, coming off of that, like, do you have people around you? Because, like you said, you people see like the strong side of you, right? So, is there people around you that you feel safe enough or connected enough with that you don't have to have that strong front all the time, or is it always you're on? It's always like, hey, I got to be strong. They got to see this.
So this is a good, really good point because, for me, it's important in competitive sport. You grow up thinking that being strong means never showing your emotions. You push through pain, through fear, through exhaustions, but because you believe that normally winners are doing that, but that's not true. In real resilience is not about suppressing your feelings, but it's about understanding them. So I've learned that strength is not the absence of vulnerability, of being weak, but it's the ability to understand exactly how you feel and being honest to yourself about how you feel. So many athletes, this can happen also not only in sports, but also in life during the work. Struggle with identity when results drop or after an injury as well. So you start like feeling and ask to yourself, who am I if I'm not going to get the same results anymore? And I think that a lot of people, athletes, uh, are passing through these moments. So, this is when mental health becomes essential. And it's when you have to learn that your value doesn't depends on the level of the scoreboard, on the results or anything like this. So this is really important, in my opinion. Huh?
No, I love that. And with different people that I've had the pleasure of speaking with, I also know with the sports, it's really hard, like with retirement, because then like they have been for the past 20 years defined as like a basketball player, a football player, right? And now it's like, now what, So
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that goes on, and when they retire, that's when the mental health hits them.
yeah,
Or they have an injury that takes them out of the game
yes,
completely. Yeah.
yeah,
So have you had like an injury or something that either one has
yeah,
taken you completely out of the game, or
yeah.
that has just been life changing and you had to switch it up on how you presented
No,
yourself
no,
for the game?
I had an injury. I had a quite bad injury in the past when I was an eventer, and yeah, I fell off from a horse, and I don't really remember the episode because I got unconscious, and I fell off from this horse, and I had a concussion, and yeah, I was unconscious for 2 times. And
Yeah.
then when I woke up, I just didn't remember anything. And so uh, it's like a third person. I remember the story just only because I heard that from other people, the people that were there, so and they were watching me. So
Yeah.
after that, I was quite scared. Um,
Yeah.
of course, I didn't understand that I was scared about going on a horse. And then it was like a mix of emotion because I was scared to be again on the horse, but also about losing time. So, all the competition, all the results. Then you say, oh, what's going on now? What happened next? But then I
Right.
learned that
Yeah.
step by step, and what I was doing was fixing a little goal, just uh, day by day. And then, yeah, I was able to go to competition again and have great results again. But of course, I mean, it's not everything automatic, but it's important, in my opinion, to be able to respect what you feel
Hmm.
and
Yes.
not just avoiding or hide something, because then you don't arrive to that point anymore.
Hmm. No, I really agree with that statement there. So you race horses, like that's what you do. And there's a lot of people who turn to horses for like therapy, and they you know, when I was younger, I had a horse, and I just loved my horse, right? But is that something that you find yourself also doing, or is it a little more different for you because that's like you have to work on a horse, like that's really your job is working on a horse, and so maybe your relationship with horses isn't so much as a fun, outlet. It's more of like a stressful outlet.
No, 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 no. I mean, I love any kind of animals. That's that's the first thing. So uh, for me, what is really important is the connection, not only with people but also with the animals. And when you build this such strong connection, it's something unique, and you can. I mean, I when I enter in my stable, I have all my horses that are coming out from the window and they scream and call about when they see me, and this is something that makes my heart full of joy and love, and I'm like this with all my animals. So with also I have little ponies and dogs and whatever, and yeah, I'm just like this, and I'm really lucky that this is my primary job. So
Yeah.
yeah, I do something that I can't really call job because it's something that I really like.
Oh,
I
that's
can get
that's
up
good, right?
every morning and I'm really happy because I can go to see my horses and spend the entire day there. So yeah.
I love that. So I also, a lot of animals feed off their owner's energy, right?
Yeah.
Um, do you see that with your horses? Like, I mean, for when you fell off your horse and had that incident, did you see a difference in your horse until he or she maybe realized that you were okay and you weren't like badly, I mean, not that you weren't badly injured, but that you were going to be okay? Was there a difference with the horse?
Yeah, I think that because of this kind of connection that you build, then it's I can see directly from my horses when I'm not really full of energy, or when you are also only a little bit tired, they can recognize it absolutely, and I can see
Yeah.
this also with my dogs.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. That is very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so, and I'll come back to that question that I have. But what do you do for an outlet, right? Because like I mentioned just a minute ago, a lot of people use horses. That's what they use to help their outlet with mental health or to help, get them through a hard time. What is your outlet?
Like your dog.
Yep, there's literally making his
Something
appearance.
like this. So you are asking me what I think about horses using in therapy, correct?
Um, no, no, no. I'm asking what you do. So like a lot of
What I
other
do with the
people who
horses.
what you do for yourself for mental health. Like how do
Okay,
you
okay,
yes.
okay. For example, if I can go a little bit back to the part of rebuilding ourselves after an injury, for example, so I can answer to your question.
Yeah.
Of course, like everybody, I've had moments in which things were just falling apart, physically, emotionally, professionally, and everything. So, but I've also learned that in those moments are not the end; they are just restart point. When you go through something difficult, like we said, an injury, burnout, disappointment, you have two choices, in my opinion. You pretend that it didn't affect you, or rebuild from honestly. So
Yeah.
rebuilding, of course, is taking time. You need passion. You need self-respect. You need faith that balance will return, will come back. And I think that the most beautiful part and thing that happen when you come back is that you are never the same, never ever. You are deeper, you are calmer, you are more connected with what truly matters. And I really think that this is, like I said from the beginning, this is something that you need to recognize and be honest with yourself. When you are tired, you have to recognize that, and you don't have to feel guilty if you need to step back, if you need just to have a break, to reset. And this is also a part of the athletes.
Hmm.
That when you are successful, then success can be really loud from the outside, no?
Yes.
Interviews,
Yes.
followers, you have trips, you have a lot of competitions to do, travel, whatever. But often behind the scene, it's not really like that. But it's really quiet, and sometimes it's very lonely. Uh, Obviously, I speak about my personal experience, huh? And
Yeah.
there is like a kind of silent pressure that you have always, like, feel here that you have always to appear perfect, the perfect image that you have to give for the public, for the people that you have around you. But you know, in that silence, sometimes that silence can become really, really heavy. Sometimes because you don't really have people around you that you trust 200%. And this is when exactly you have to trust your feelings and recognize also when it's time to step back to have a rest. So because I've learned that peace of mind is not a luxury, it's a part of the
Right.
performance.
Yes. Yeah. No, that is very accurate. So speaking of having people around you that you trust and people that you feel, comfortable with, um, have you found yourself having people around you who you felt were the trusting people and were there for you, but then turned out not to be? Have you experienced that?
Yeah, yes.
And
And
how
but I
did
don't
you deal?
blame anyone. I think that from every experience we can learn a lesson.
Yes.
And
Yes. Yes. Hmm.
so I don't point out anyone. I don't judge anyone because that's, I mean, we are all different, and we react um, to life in a very different way. I can have a reaction, you can have a reaction, someone else have a different reaction, and I think that, I mean, from my side, I don't judge anyone. I mean, that's their life, and also, you know, I can react in a different way. So, you know, whatever happen in life, I think that we can decide how to um, how to interpret this episode, if it's a lesson. And I think that yeah, we can learn anything from everyone. So yeah, I always like to take little things from everyone that I can meet in my life, whatever is a good or bad experience. That's something that will affect my life. But I think
Hmm.
that from everyone we can learn something, which is bad or good.
No, I actually teach my kids that.
Yeah,
Whenever something bad happens or whenever you feel like someone has done you wrong or whatever the case might be, look at the bigger picture and tell me what you learned from it, right? Tell me
yeah,
what you learned from it and tell me how you're going to move forward with what you learned because that's what's important. If we hold on to what they did wrong to us, or if we're looking at it in a different light of like, oh, they took this from us, or I wasn't able to do my job as well because of that. You know what I mean? Like then that just holds on to you and that
yeah,
affects you as a person, right? And that's not anything you really want to do in life. You want to be the
yeah.
best version of yourself
Of
for
yourself,
yourself.
right?
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly.
you mentioned religion. And I know I can speak for myself that, I if it wasn't for God, there's a lot of things I know wouldn't have happened in my life. And so
Yeah,
I always turn to him. And I also, in my moments of not understanding or my moments of like just feeling defeated, right? Like I will pick up the Bible and I'll just, be talking to God, like, what is it that you're trying to teach me right now, or where is it that you're trying to take me, like give me some understanding. And I always find it very interesting how I can look at that chapter or wherever that verse is that I'm led to, and it is coming off the page and all of the words that I can pronounce and understand, right? And it's
yeah,
so interesting to me because I know that's God because God also sees me read the Bible and know that I'm like I don't know, we're gonna pass on this word, like different things like that, or I'm not sure about something. But in those moments of me turning to him for guidance, that's not the case when it comes to picking up the Bible and him leading me to a verse or a chapter. Religion with you, how do you connect with your religion? Like how is that for you?
I truly believe that whatever we are going through is never by accident. There is always a reason and a meaning in whatever happened in our life. And I'm referring to a little episode or a big episode, whatever. I think that for anything we are going through, we people also, all the people that we can meet, there is always a reason. Maybe we don't understand immediately why, but he will explain us why and the meaning of the situation, of the people, and whatever. So this is how I say
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Again, everything happens for a reason, right? And it's
it.
always never on your time of when things are going to happen. It's always God's time, and He does show up. So yeah, so what suggestions or what like coping could do you think you could offer the audience if they're struggling, especially those that play in sports? Um, that happens to that happens to be very stressful, and it takes a toll on mental health because, like you had mentioned, when you get injured, sometimes you show up differently, and so you have to go into your own head and get out of who you used to be and how you used to do things and learn how to redo that, right?
Yeah.
So what do you suggest in helping wise, and getting back to being a you, but just in a different way?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say one thing that I really love the mission of your show because it reminds people that nobody is alone. And this is really important because we all go through moments of fear, doubts, loss. So no matter how strong we look, you know, um, when we share our stories, I think we create a connection, the connection that I was talking about before, And I think that the true success looks like not winning, but being able to inspire someone not to give up. And if my story can make even one person feel less alone, that's already a victory for me. Okay,
I
now
love
yes.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
I love everything that you just said because I remember when I started this journey, I was like, I used to work in law enforcement, and so and public safety, and so as you, it was always that strong front, like you always had to have yourself together, you always had to be like on the strong front, and
Yeah,
that strong face. And so when I started this, I was like, I know that I want to help people, but how do I help people to help them maybe not experience some of the things that I've experienced, you know what I mean? And so like have them learn from me,
yeah,
And so that's when I went back to school and I got certified to be a life coach. And then I just started posting about my struggles with like PTSD and how I overcame that, or what I was doing now to deal with it, different things like that. And to my surprise, I didn't ever dream that that is something that people want to see. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
people really want to see real life things, right? Like
exactly.
not
Yeah.
reality TV,
No, 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 no.
because nothing against reality TV, but I mean some of that stuff it can come off kind of fake. You know what I mean? So when you have someone who is, you know, sharing and opening up and being so vulnerable, that speaks volumes, right? And then
Yeah,
that's how you connect with people because people are like, she gets it, she understands, like she's not someone that's on this show pretending to understand and has like $1 billion and is living life fine, you know what I mean? And I feel like since I've started this journey, I understand so much more, because I used to be that person that would look at people on my TV screen and be like, you don't know anything about life, like you don't know what it is to have a hard life, and here you are acting as if you do. And it would like frustrate me a little bit. But then as I started this journey, I have again been fortunate enough to speak with amazing people like yourself. And it has opened my eyes that just because someone is showing up uh, in the public a certain way, as you had mentioned, it doesn't mean that's what's happening behind closed doors.
No.
And so uh, just because someone has, money, or just because someone may not have money, right? Like that person that doesn't have money, like you think the other person does, is probably living a happier, more fulfillment life than the one that does have all the money that you see that's showing up differently. You know what I mean? Um, just being that safe space for people. And I love that that's who you are, like you're like, no, this is reality. This is what's happening. And this is how I'm feeling, and you're using what you have experienced in life to help
Yeah.
others. And I just think that's, some amazing work to do, because not everyone thinks it's okay to do that, right? Like we're
Yeah.
still,
Right.
the debate is still out on how people feel about mental health. But I will always be the first one to say, I think there's a lot of judgment when it comes to mental health. And that is only because so many people don't understand it. Like they just don't understand. And so when they hear mental health, they automatically assume that there's something wrong with that person, right? Like there's something wrong, and they're not as equal as the rest of us, or they're not as good as the rest of us. And in reality, that's really not the case. And sometimes that individual has been through more and done more with their life than you have. And if you
Yeah.
would just take the time to talk with them, you would know that. You know what I mean? And so the fact that you are, in the public eye, and do the things that you do, and yet here you are sharing, it's not a perfect world. You know what I mean? Like that's not
No.
reality, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, thank you for
And
doing that.
oh no,
And
I'm
I know
really
it's not,
happy. If I can say one more thing, is that I've discovered that in the same discipline that I follow for the sport, I can focus, and is helping me also in my my real life. The only difference is that in life and in sport is that during the sport you have a coach. In life
yeah,
you don't have a coach that is watching you, no? So you become your own coach. And I think that the key, as I said at the beginning, is the awareness. I mean, knowing when to push, when to pause. And in sport, you are trained to go faster. And in life, sometimes growth means just slow down. And that's
yes,
why I believe that mental health is not just about healing. I think it's about living with intention, and knowing who you are, and respecting also your own rhythm. That's the thing. When I said at the beginning, you have to recognize that when you need a pause, when you need to step back. And I don't think it's something you have to feel guilty or ashamed of, but it's
right.
just recognize how you feel and live with your feelings. So yes, we are talking about mental health, but it's about more also humanity. It's
Hmm.
being real. It's
Yes.
being kind,
Hmm.
and it's
Hmm.
also reminding to each other that strength and softness can live in the same person.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes. And that's what I love about being a life coach, because like you said, with
yeah,
sports, there's a coach, right? Like there's a coach that shows up and helps and gets you through that, and whatever. But being a life coach, I get to be that person for someone personally, right? And
yeah,
you know, they realize that I'm not, and I'm not, I'm when I say this, I'm not meaning that just because you went to college means you don't know anything. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, when it comes to certain subjects, when it comes to certain things, it's easier for someone to open up and connect with someone who truly gets it because they've went through it, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
someone who has a sports injury. I can talk about it and I can tell you what I think, they might go through, but I really don't know because I have never experienced that and I've
Yes.
never been into like the elite sports, right? But if you connect someone with somebody else who has been in the elite sport and has been injured and they've went through it and came out on the other side, it's easier to connect with them and
Yeah.
talk with them because you truly get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think when it comes to having a coach and doing life coaching and whatever it is, I think it's very important to have that in your life because that for some people is their safe area of actually connecting it and not feeling alone, right? Which
Exactly.
is the reason for my podcast is because I don't ever want anyone to feel alone, and
No.
so
Right.
hearing different stories from different people and just realizing that, hey, it doesn't matter if you're the single mom, across the street, or if you're the CEO of Burger King, we're all going through life and we all are
Of
going to have
course.
different journeys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just how we show up and present ourselves obviously is going to look different, but it would be much easier if we all shared grace, right? And
Of course.
gave that to other people and was more open-minded about just because, I see things as okay, we get up, we go to work, we come home, we take care of our family, right? That's not how other people in their mind is seeing things, and that's not how they show up because their journey has been different than mine,
Yeah.
and it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that.
Totally
I love
agree.
that. When you fell off the horse, and you said you had a concussion, did you get like how long was that affecting your memory? Like, because I'm guessing you got diagnosed with a TBI, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't remember anything about the 3 days before since I fell off.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And to touch a little bit on TBI, I also feel like that is something that gets pushed to the side. I don't think people truly understand when someone says they've had a concussion or a traumatic brain injury. I think people just assume like they've had like a major migraine and dizziness and maybe throwing up or whatever, but in a couple hours they're fine. But I feel like when it comes to especially sports and football and kind of like in high school and college, I feel like elite sports has come a long way with it. But I think there definitely needs to be more conversation around traumatic brain injuries and how it really does sometimes have a lifelong effect on people.
Yes, yes, I think the same. I think it's really important to have conversation and whatever. Also, because I remember that uh, I was like talking to myself when I was in the hospital, and I was lying down, and I was like, yeah, but I don't know what happened, but it's okay. I want to go home. And then I was like, when I woke up, then I was like, why I'm here. And then they explained the story, and I said, okay, fine. But then, I just want to go home and I want to go to the stable. And I didn't realize how bad the situation was. And also,
Mm-hmm.
I was telling to myself, yeah, I can go on a horse and what? I'm not scared. I'm not scared. But when I was actually on the horse, then I was like feeling not unsafe, but like in another world. So also
Yeah.
the balance, it's different. It was feeling like if I was on a bubble, and I took a bit of time to reconnect myself. I can say my brain to my mind, my soul, my body, and everything. Um, so yeah, I think it's important also to explain and to give support, the right support to people who can go through something like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm actually, my team, some
Yeah,
people from my team is actually doing very, they advocate very hard for TBI.
yeah,
And, I love that that's part of, when I had my experience with it, I mean, I remember like waking up and I'm like, this isn't where I'm supposed to be, right? But I was in my house. And so I was, yeah, like I was like, this isn't where I'm supposed, like in my mind, I really, and it's very scary. I really felt like I was supposed to be like 10 years ago, right? Like I went back like almost 10 years. Yeah. And that's where I was in my mind, that's where I was supposed to be. So then when I woke up and I'm looking around, I'm like, like, what's going on? And it literally took me a good hour probably to process it. And I thank God that my older kids were older. And so they were able to help, like me process as to why maybe I was feeling the way that I was and why I was so confused as to why I was in this house that I didn't know and it was mine. And so it was very, very scary, but it was also a reality check for me because then it showed me, this is what it really is to have a TBI. This is really what happens, and this is how it can affect you for the rest of your life. And so I'm
I
very
can't hear you
ecstatic that
anymore.
I my
Okay, now
oh
I can
no.
hear you. Okay, now I can hear you again.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, I'm just very ecstatic now that I have people on my team that,
Yeah,
are advocating for that and we're trying to get that conversation also started and people more aware of that as well.
yeah.
Um, before we close up the show, do you have anything that you would like to share with the audience that maybe I haven't touched on?
I think we said a lot. I don't really have anything else to add. I think we had really nice conversation, and I really hope that I can help anyone with my
Yeah.
experience.
Yes.
And yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, yes, me too. And I want to thank everyone for joining us for today's show. And,
Yes,
just
thank you
remember
so
you are
much.
not alone and
Never.
keep shining because you never know who's going to need your light.
Yeah.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.